Do you want to close more deals, bigger deals, and a lot faster while eliminating the ghosting that happens? Well, the number one way to do that is to improve how you run your discovery call. Hey, I'm Marcus Chan, founder of Six Figure Sales Academy, in which we help B2B sales professionals earn an additional $50,000 to $100,000 more without just making thousands of cold calls or working harder. And in this training, which I'm very excited to go over with you, I'm going to break down my exact discovery call flow that I've done for years now to close deals that are anywhere from a few $1,000s annual recurring revenue up to 5 million plus annual recurring revenue. Let's go ahead and dive right in. All I'm going to cover today is we're talking about why discovery is the most important part of the process, how discovery fits into the entire sales process, why an awesome disco is like making Thanksgiving dinner, the truth about the buyer's journey, the exact discovery call flow for selling 3,000 to 5 mil plus ARR deals, annual recurring revenue deals. Now, let's talk about why discovery is the most important part of the process. It may seem really odd, but I want to make sure we're all on the same page. So number one, it allows you to truly qualify and uncover the needs of potential buyers or your prospects. It also allows you to build trust. It also helps you shorten down your sales cycle drastically when done effectively. You'll also close more, you'll close bigger deals, you'll also maximize deals, and you're also going to increase deal sizes as a result of doing a really effective discovery. And I just want to show you some examples here because I'm not just arbitrarily just saying that this is a real breakdown. So for example here, I took the numbers in just under 6 months. Our team has run 240. Well, it's over 240 now, but about 240 sales calls. All right. Out of that, and some were 1 call, 2 calls, 5 calls, 10 calls, whatever it was, right, to eventually get to close. But 240 new cold prospects, we brought in 80 as a client. So 34.93% closing ratio, all right, for offers that are mid 4 figures up to low 5 figures, all right. And you take a look here, even with some of the stuff I'm going to show you as well. We do get no-shows as well, but we had a 4.58% no-show rate. So 95.4% of people showed up as well. Okay, so that's the real numbers for my business right here in the last 6 months, under 6 months. Also, here's some other examples, right? So this is Jade. He's in my programs here. So Jaden here, even just doing a better discovery, is able to 1 call close, not 1, but 2 deals. 2 deals that netted over $10,000 commission each. All right, 10K commission, meaning that's $19,000, $20,000 in sales commission after taxes and everything else. Did quite pretty well with that. Okay, or someone like Simmer here, right? Literally, the typical deal size is about 3K was before. His deal size is 25K, 10K. So they're literally 3 times to 8 times larger as a result by really improving discovery. All right. This is Jordan here, right? Even Jordan here, talking about even just trying to implement what I'm going to show you today. By doing that, his prospects are literally begging to buy from him as a result, right? So it's a very simple system. Or Yash here, right? He closed 2 out of 9 deals. He's presently managing, ended up speeding enterprise sale in a matter of 2 weeks. And now his pipeline is getting super juicy. Okay, so you get the point here. This stuff works, right? So I also don't want to assume anything, and I want to make sure we're on the same page in terms of what I mean by how discovery fits into the entire sales process. So, if you've seen any of my past trades, this is a pretty familiar thing right here. But typically you have top of the funnel work. That's cold calls, emails, DM, whatever, social media, whatever. Okay. Then you get the call, then you get the appointment booked. Right now, some people kind of run a cold call. The initial call is more of a disco. I'm talking about the true deep dive disco. So taking that time to really deep dive into the process. That's the discovery that I'm talking about here. Okay, so this part. And then you might have a demo, presentation, and then close. And obviously, you might have multiple steps in between. But what we're talking about today is focused on the discovery right here. Okay, right here on the screen. All right. Now, before I go into it, I want to talk about why an awesome discovery is like making Thanksgiving dinner. All right, so I think hopefully you'll appreciate my analogy, my terrible jokes here, but but it's a good point to understand here. So this is Thanksgiving dinner a few years back, right? I remember when I had this realization. So this is my sister's her ex-husband, but at the time they were married, and early on when he's an amazing chef, really phenomenal chef, and he's making dinner for all of us for Thanksgiving. And I remember he woke up, he started about 9 o'clock in the morning for Thanksgiving years ago, and it took him about 6-7 hours to make the whole dinner. And one of the things I observed this first year was he'd be starting to, do the prepare and do all those things. Suddenly he realized he was missing something. He'd race to the store and go get it and then come back. He'd be working on something else in the kitchen and then realize he missed something else, race to the store and then come back. And then again, that happened multiple, at least 3, 4, maybe 5 times that first Thanksgiving, in which he was going back and forth to get all the ingredients he needed to actually make a great meal. Now, the meal is absolutely fantastic at the very, very end. But what was interesting was the following year, I noticed the amount of time it took him to make dinner was about 3 to 4 hours, so about half the time. And the difference was he didn't race back and forth to the store because he actually had all the ingredients to make the actual meal without going back and forth. And this is so much like an awesome discovery because a lot of times I find most sales professionals, they don't do the deepest dive in the discovery. So what ends up happening is every subsequent meeting is going back and getting more information. It's catching up on missteps. It's things they didn't realize. So they're going back and forth, trying to get all the ingredients, trying to get all the details they need to actually be able to present. Now, and I'm not saying that, it's going to be a one call close and automatically, that's not what I'm saying. My point is if you run on a discovery, a really awesome discovery the proper way, and you truly get all the information on the front end, now that leads to less steps on the back end, leading to a shorter sales cycle. It also allows you to maximize the account better as well. So when you think about your discovery, it's how can you position yourself where you get as much information up front as possible, the right information and the best information, so that way you can really shorten down your sales cycle and you can put together the best offer and solution for your prospect. So really, really important. So shorten down that sales cycle by asking the right questions. And so let me show you now, okay? Oh, actually, let me first go over the truth about the buyer's journey. All right, so the truth about a buyer's journey, and this is talking about a linear versus a non-linear buyer's journey. Now, what we do wish we could would happen, all of us, right? Let's be real here, is from a typical sales process, we get their attention, interest, decision, and then action. And we hope that how they're going to buy, right? Like if I follow this magic script or a process, they will automatically close. Well, that's just not realistic, right? That's a wrong belief, right? And it's very rare that every sales process is exactly like that. Now, sometimes they are, and every now and then you're able to just do exactly what you're supposed to do, and it will close. But that's not always going to be the case because we're dealing with human beings, right? And there's so many uncontrollable factors. So the truth is, what really happens is really this. So you still have, hidden the attention, their interest, decision, and action. But usually what really happens is when they're actually going through the process, it's all over the place, right? It's all over the place, right? So it's not a guarantee, okay? But what you do want to have, right? The right belief is if you want to believe, if I follow this framework, my win rate increases. If I follow this framework, my win rate increases. That's how you want to think about this. So, and let me explain, because there are certain factors you can control. For example, in your sales process, you can control how you prepare. You can control your attitude. You can control you can control the frameworks you follow. You can control how you follow up. You can control what you say and what you do, etc. So these are all things you can 100% control as part of your sales process. Now, there's going to be things that you just cannot control. For example, here's some uncontrollables. You can't control marketplace changes. So if something happens in the marketplace, you can't control that. You can't control economic instability. So you cannot control that. You can't control changes in their company. If that company you're prospecting into is having internal changes and that impacts your sales process, you can't control that. You can't control instability in the decision lives. That's personal, professional, etc. So those are all the things that really can impact a sales process, if not more, that even if you run the perfect process, there's no guarantee. So the moral story is what you want to do is follow really, really solid frameworks, and you want to modify to fit your market, your industry, etc. And then nothing is absolute. You want to control the controllables and focus on increasing your win rate. And nobody closes at 100%, right? And I've heard some people try to claim they close, I close at 90 to 100%. Well, very, very unlikely, unless you literally are just, you don't have enough prospects in your funnel, right? So I've seen some people who claim a very, very high closing ratio. I had this one rep who claimed a very high closing ratio, but if you actually look at actual numbers, he was always behind his number because he only closed the warmest leads and he wasn't able to do true outbound. All right. So, and the truth is, if you are doing a lot of cold outbound as well, you're going to have a lower closing ratio than someone who's selling into a portfolio or selling into a warmer book of business. Now, let's go through the exact discovery call flow for selling 3K to 5K, 5 mil plus AR deals. Now, you'll see this is a pretty thorough thing. I'm going to zoom in a second, but I wanted to show you this. Okay. This is the overall flow. All right. So let me go ahead and let me pull this up. Okay. So first off, I want to warn you here because, just like anything else, especially in sales, when you learn a really solid foundational framework, you can use that ethically or unethically. Please only use this ethically, okay? And this is for selling big deals. So first off, when you think about this, even from a sales process perspective, after you book the appointment, I do recommend you have some sort of pre-call flow to really increase your show-up rate and to increase your know, like, and trust factor. So talking different reps, usually their show-up rate could be anywhere from, as low as like 50%, up to 80%, 90% if you're a superstar, right? So I do recommend having a pre-call flow. So for example, for us, we have a calendar invite. We do an email nurture sequence. And then we do have a tool we call slide broadcast, plus a video message. And we also use an online calendar with a reminder sequence. All right. So you need something on your own, right? So first off, if you think about your appointment, right, whether it's a Zoom or face-to-face, did the prospect show up? If it's a no, okay, whether it's face-to-face or on the Zoom, follow up within 10 minutes of the call time to reschedule. Really, really important. On the spot, you want to call, text, email, whatever it's going to be depending on your situation. All right. And then again, from there, go into, once you rebook it, have some sort of reminder sequence as well to get them to show up. All right. And let's just say it's a yes. So if it's a yes, okay, so you get on the call. Now, this is assuming a Zoom call here. I recommend turn the video on immediately, right? And then, build some rapport with them. And then we actually shut off our cameras after we build some rapport with them because we want to show them we're actually a legit real person. If you want to keep your camera on, entirely up to you. In the time of this recording, a lot of people are kind of zoomed out. So I find most people, after you kind of turn it off, they're like, whoosh. So entirely up to you, right? Because you want to put them at ease. Now, then you want to set the agenda and gain agreement. Now, do they agree to your agenda and to the agreement that you're offering? Now, if they do not, okay, then you want to politely disqualify and end the call. All right, because obviously, if they're not going to be open-minded at all, I don't even know why they showed up. All right, so politely disqualify, end the call, and move on. All right, don't waste your time. Now, if it's a yes, usually it's going to be a yes, right? You start discovery questions using open-ended questions. Now, we use a really, really simple framework here. We call code for discovery, right? Which is connect, open, direct, and expand. Whatever formula you want to use, that's totally fine. Whether it's, medic, BANT, whatever, right? Which goes into qualification questions. Right? So next you want your qualification questions, which is what I just mentioned, right? Which could be medic or BANT or whatever methodology you're already using. Have some sort of qualification questions you go through. And then you want to uncover their buyer beliefs, right? So that's the pain, the cost of inaction, desire, doubt, resources, decision-making power, trust. So uncover what all those questions are, what their beliefs are. Make sure you're fully validated there. Also, then you also want to make sure you understand what specifications are required. This is, if applicable, depending on what you sell. If it's more technical, or maybe you need that to put together numbers for potentially an offer. And then, of course, what's also really key as well is you want to make sure as you are asking these questions, you're not machine gunning questions at them. You want to have deep follow-up questions, including recapping and re-clarifying for true understanding. So do not just nod your head. Go a little bit deeper and really uncover the layers of the onion to get to the real root cause of what's really on their mind. And then from there, you want to recap and re-clarify you've learned. Incredibly important because, again, this helps you understand, did you properly digest it? Did you properly understand it? Did you properly comprehend it? But also helps build trust with the process so they know you actually were paying attention and you're being intentional. And you'll notice here, this entire time, there's no presenting here. You're not presenting anything. You're not pulling up a pitch deck. You're not doing anything. You are simply being a great active listener, really listening and asking deep, thoughtful questions along these lines here. So next, as you go down, right, like after you recap and reclarify everything, do they agree? Do they agree? And they're like, yeah, you nailed it. Or they're like, no, you were totally off base, which is possible. So if they say no, then you go back and go deeper. You probably missed something, or you didn't ask the right questions or follow-up questions. So you go right back up to here, your qualification questions, or anything else you potentially could have missed. So really nail this, right? Nail this loop right here. Now, if they do agree, yes, great. Are they qualified? Right? So so even after all this, like, I'm assuming obviously on the initial phone call, you did qualify them before you decide to meeting, right? But sometimes after you do a deeper dive, you uncover they're just not a good fit, right? So if they are not a good fit at that point, if it's a no, okay, you follows up and you want to again politely disqualify and end the call. All right. So that's okay. Remember, your time is so valuable. Do not waste time presenting to unqualified prospects. It's not a good use of your time. Now, assuming they are qualified, yes. All right. You ask yourself this. Did you hit all the necessary questions to earn the right to present, to do a demo, or to plan out next steps? If the answer is no, go back again. Go deeper, right? Again, I want you to notice here, did you earn the right? Did you earn the right? Do you have all the information that you can, whether it's to plan next step out or present or do all those things? If you are not able to, then go back and go deeper, okay? Let's say it's a yes right here. If it's a yes right here, is it a complex deal with multiple layers? You know, that's decision makers. That could be external, internal factors. And it could be, maybe it's their company, your product offering and company. So ultimately, meaning you are not able to draw any numbers up. You're not able to present anything on the spot. You're not able to really do anything along those lines to be able to ask for business, right? Because, you know, that's just depending on what you do. Now, on a little timeout here, what you want to think about is for some people, they believe they always have to. I'm not saying everything should be a one call close, but for some processes, if you think about, like, are you able to put yourself in a position where if you were able to uncover all the right stuff up front, would you be able to present an offer at the end of the call or not? And if you can't, no worries, then you do this next step. If you can, think about how you can improve your process still. This is how you shorten down your sales cycle. All right. So whether it's 10 calls to 5 calls, right? Or 3 calls to 1 call, you get my point. So next, what you want to do is you want to plan next steps. If it's a complex deal, you know, you plan next steps with the prospect with really firm action items for each party with a rough timeline of the process. Incredibly important. It should be crystal clear exactly what's going to happen for them or for you when they leave that meeting. Then you end the call and you send a recap email of next steps. Now, let's assume it's a yes for complex deal. Now, let's just say it's a no. It's not a complex deal. In fact, it's simple, meaning a decision can be made on the spot, right? Because you did everything properly up front. Okay, cool. So now you go into, you know, present your solution, and you'll only want to focus what's important to your prospect. And that could be anything from, you know, the company background history. You could be showing visuals and connect features and methods to what's important to them. This could be case studies, testimonials, use cases, etc. But again, just only present what's relevant to the prospect and trial close all throughout to gain agreement. All right. And then of course, you know, at this point, after you do all that, does the prospect agree and believe the solution is a must-have? If it's a no, clarify and go back. Okay, to up top right here, right? Up here. Now, if it's a yes, okay, then you can present pricing for your solution. You can ask for the business. And then once the prospects say, if it's a yes, awesome, sign them up, onboard them, congratulations. You have a brand new customer and client that you just brought on board. Well done. Now, if they say no, those objections, then you utilize some sort of objection handling framework and looping. It's what we teach, right? And then you want to ask for the business again, okay? And what's the prospect say from there? Okay, and this might happen. Let's just say if it's a no, and after multiple times you're still not unable to overcome all the objections on the spot, right? This could be multiple loops, right? Then you go back up here, and you plan next steps with the prospect with a firm action item for each party with a rough time of the process, and you end the call and recap your next steps. Again, so you notice there's a theme here of controlling the process down as much as possible. Okay. Now, if it's a yes, cool. You sign them up and onboard them. Okay. So there you have it. So even though it's it looks like a lot right here, it's actually quite simple as you flow through this. All right. So there you have it, our exact discovery call flow on how to close deals at 30% and beyond. If you found value in this video, of course, make sure to smash that like button, make sure to subscribe, and of course, drop a comment below. Let me know what was your #1 takeaway from this video. Thank you so much for watching.